Prospect 1. The Chicago Cubs.
First up in the NL Central is the Chicago Cubs, and their top 10 for fantasy looks like this. Number 1, Adbert Alzolay. Number 2, Jose Albertos. Number 3, Aramis Ademan. Number 4, Alex Lang. Number 5, Nelson Velasquez. Number 6, Oscar De La Cruz. Number 7, Brendan Little. Number 8, Vladimir Galindo. Number 9, David Bodie. And number 10, Eddie Julio Martinez. That, my friends, is not the same Chicago Cubs prospect team that we know from the future. And Bogman, imagine this at one time. You had Eloy Jimenez and Gleyber Torres on the same team.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
I mean, this is crazy. I mean, I know like most of the guys have come up and they're in, they're playing for the Cubs now, like Chris Bryant and Kyle Schwarber and all those guys. But this just like, I've never heard of these guys. By the way, why is Eddie Julio Martinez, like when he was international prospect, it was Jesus and then Eddie Julio, like 2 spots below.
Remember, he was
our Lord and Savior.
It was the Andrew Jones comps. There were major Andrew Jones comps to him. It was power that's going to grow into 30-plus power. There's speed there. He could play plus defense.
False prophet.
And he was. Unfortunately, he was. It didn't really pan out. I actually always liked Eddie Julio Martinez, but it just the skill set, I'm not so sure how it's going to play in the majors.
No bow hunting skills at all,
or computer hacking skills. Double-digit homers have followed him over his first 2 years. I mean, he's 22 years old, out of Cuba. He's only had 2 pro seasons under his belt, but his average dipped a little bit this year, under 300 OPP, which is really concerning to me. And the stolen bases are okay. We'll see. He's a total fringe prospect. If you're a Cub, you got 20 roster spots in your minor league system. I'm not straight out calling you a homer, but you want to be a little bit of a homer and you want to take a shot. Sure, Eddie Julio Martinez can kind of belong there, but he's not Andrew Jones, and I'm not super optimistic. And I mean, what did he show up at? Number 10 on my list.
Dude, the highest guy on your list comes in at 171.
Yeah, the Cubs are bad. They're really bad. I mean,
they got to be the worst.
They're there.
Who's worse than the Cubs? Come on, 171 is your number 1.
I guess they have to. I when I look at the pitchers, I'm like, there's some exciting-ish little names, but yeah, you're right. I mean, we talked about the Seattle Mariners,
have sleepers and value guys and all that, but at least all these other places have. I'm going through your list here.
Well, Bogman, in the Mariners, dude,
it starts with 100 as their best guy.
That's a great point. You actually go look at. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The Mariners really are sucky, but the Cubs have better depth. But the Mariners had 2 guys in my top 100. So I mean, there's got to be a value for that. The Cubs are towards the bottom.
Pretty bad, but they've got 2 guys inside the top 100.
Yeah, and I would actually say
the Cubs don't have a
Detroit's
top
better.
150 guy.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay, the Cubs are bad. They're bottom 5 for sure. But the top 2 are kind of exciting. But here's the problem in fantasy: the pitchers, and people are really turned off from pitchers. I mean, I would say I don't know. If
you just said pitchers like we say the chicken game.
The chicken, yeah.
The chicken. You said the pitchers.
The pitchers. I would say I'm trying to say if it's 1/4, 1/3 of people with prospects. If they're going to own 20% pitchers in their minor league system. Maybe there's someone that goes a little bit more. Then there's always going to be the guy that's going to really value trying to hit the ace. That's what the Cubs offer.
Position player that you have comes in at 242.
Yeah. I mean, Adaman, if I'm saying his name right, shortstop. But the position players are kind of interesting. So, but the 2 pitchers at the top, Adbert Alzolay, I really like Alzolay, even though I do have him post 150. There's a little bit of relief risk, but I'm kind of excited about him. I saw him pitch right behind Justice Sheffield this year, and this is kind of in my write-up, and he was incredible. His stuff looked awesome, but it might look really awesome in 1 inning. We're going to have to wait to see what it looks like, as it kind of, as he grows. I think 2018 is going to be a big year for him. But as they kind of depleted their system, he kind of jumped up. And Jose Albertos, who is pretty far away, this dude has got one of the best changeups maybe in the minor leagues. I don't want to say the best or anything like that, but probably like top 10 or 15 or something like that, which is going to be a major strikeout pitch for him with good control. So both of those guys have potential to be decent starting pitchers. And to be frank, I mean, I have them within 10 spots of each other, like in the overall ranks. Jose Albertos might have the higher upside, but he's further away. But I really like Alzolay's stuff right now.
I mean, the Cubs are going to be back in the World Series, probably this year. Can we just not talk about the minor league? This is pathetic. Can we talk about any other team? This is bad.
Yes, we can.
Who else do you want to talk about here?
I'll just give you a couple names. So, Aramis, Adaman. I know I'm butchering it. Apologies.
I think it's Adaman.
I'd
say Aramis Adaman.
I think it's Aramis Adaman. Shortstop, kind of toolsy. He's still growing into it all. He's a player. Actually, he's a value guy at this point. He's a guy that you should kind of go and jump on. 5'11", 160. He's going to put on more weight. Hit 267, 14 stolen bases, 7 homers. Kind of dig him. Nelson Velasquez actually might be my favorite, even though he's probably the riskiest of all of them. 6 foot, 190 out of Puerto Rico. And he played some time out here in the Arizona Fall League. Got to see him. He was, I think, a homer shy of the home run lead in the AZL. Hit 8 homers, but only hit 236. So his problem is big hole in the swing. He's got a big old swing with big raw power, corner outfielder. That's why I like him, though. If he can, get that average going, if he can start to put it together, he has got some huge power, probably tops in the system. And I just have a personal love for David Bodie, who he is older. He's going to be probably, I think, 25 in April, so a little bit into the season. Bodie's the dude, if you remember, I think it was the Fall Stars game. I was there really early. I was on the field, BP, and I was filming, and I've got this out there.
I was on the field.
No big deal. And
you weren't, Bogman, just like you weren't invited to the RDI draft.
Well, you were there. You just weren't there as early as me. And Bodie was having a monster BP session, and he's really vocal. He was actually the most vocal of anybody. Just, he's calling his shots. And the last one, he hit it. If you've ever been to Salt River Field, there's this big green wall at the end with cactuses that line up like 3 levels. And he hit it like in the second level of cactuses. And he comes out, and I'm kind of smiling just because he was making me laugh, and I got it. And he looks over at me, and he's like, "Did you see that?" He's like, "You saw that?" And I was like, "Dude, I got it right here." And Bodie comes right up to me. He's like, and I'm like, "You want to see it?" He's like, "Yes." So I pull it up on my phone, and me and Bodie are watching the BP together. Me and my best friend. Right. And it was a cool moment. He was so excited. He's like, "Oh, you got to get this to me." And I'm like, "I got it. I got you." And he had a really good run in the AFL. In his 2017 season, 14 homers, couple stolen bases, 272. He might be at best like a fringe utility player. Maybe there's an injury. He gets some time. Might not be with the Cubs. I have a personal like for David Bodie. I think his game could translate to fantasy, but he needs an opportunity. But all of that aside, your targets are probably, I'll say Alzolay and Alberto's definitely, Adaman and Velasquez. Those are your main targets to look for. If you're looking for pitching, besides the 2 I labeled to you, Lang and Little, the 2017 draft picks, those are a couple guys you can look at. But yeah, the Cubs, it's kind of gross.
Yeah, so we probably did, 10 minutes on the Cubs right now? It's probably 8 minutes too long, right?
You're just hating on them. Hey, man.
Well, I'm looking at the rest of this division, and it's incredible.
You're very right.
Not that it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life, but the rest of these teams all have deep list here.
Yeah, the best advice for you is don't go looking for huge impact fantasy players from the Chicago Cubs. Could you hit on a couple guys? You could. You definitely could. Velasquez, you're going to have to wait. Adaman, you're going to have to wait. But you're not going to hit probably big. Maybe Albertos might be the highest ceiling guy of any of these guys, but that's not where you're digging for fantasy.